Good morning. This is the Breville Infuser model BES840 in brushed stainless steel. As you saw in the photos, this is a used machine. It's got some scratches around the front, or a lot of scratches, mainly around where the cup goes in and out over here, a few around here, and a few stain marks on the left hand side, a nick on the right hand side. But this is standard for a machine that's used for a few years. I have done my best to clean it as much as possible. I've scrubbed it all around. I've sanitized it with alcohol and all-purpose cleaner, so it should be nice and clean and good to go. But what's important is what's on the inside, and this machine is fully refurbished. I've just done a full cleaning cycles, descale cycles. I've changed the entire solenoid. I've changed all the seals on the machine, so it does work like new. It has no issues at all, no leaks, steam or water leaks. Everything is nice and clean on the inside. And yeah, in this video I'll be making my morning latte on it. So taking you through all the steps. It's up to temperature now, but it usually takes about a minute to reach temperature. You can make coffee right away, but what's recommended is you should do a blank shot to warm up the machine. So get your cup, put the handle inside. It's empty at the moment. Put the handle in the machine and then press the double button, and that's going to give you a shot of hot water. I'm just going to reset it to factory settings. That's how you do it. You hold the program to reset it to factory settings. But anyway, you just press the double button and that's going to give you hot water. It's going to warm up your group head, it's going to warm up your portafilter and cup, and it's also will act like a bit of a cleaning cycle. It will flush all the coffee grounds and oils that are stuck in the shower screen and in the basket. In the meantime, I'm going to go grab my milk. You can do that once, you can do that twice. I'll do it again with a single button just to show you that it works fine. Awesome. That's all done. The cup is nice and warm now. You can also put your cups on top. Every time you use the machine, the top gets warm, not super hot, but just warm to get them up to temperature. With the blank shot done, what I'll do next is I'll grab a tissue. I'll drain all the water, grab a tissue. I'll dry it as much as possible. Okay, it's all dry now. Your machine comes with a few baskets. So this is the double basket. Your machine also comes with a single basket and also a pressurized double basket. The differences between pressurized and non-pressurized baskets: if you prefer to use fresh coffee and you have a home grinder, you grind your own beans, use the single wall basket. It will give you good results. If you use pre-ground coffee, so coffee already ground from the supermarket, or your roaster already grinds it for you, then the double basket probably will do a better job in making your coffee. The reason is because the double wall basket will give you more pressure even if the beans are a bit old or a bit of the incorrect grind size. Sorry, excuse me. I'm going to be using my own grinder here, but the process should be relatively the same. This takes about 17 grams of ground coffee. The pressurized one takes about 17.5, 18 grams. But let's aim for 17, that's fine. 17 grams of coffee in here. I'll do that with my grinder here. I'm also going to use a scale to measure the input and output, just to set your machine up to the correct settings. Whatever grinder you use, just a quick note about grind sizes. If you make coffee at the correct grind size, your coffee will flow nice and smooth. It'll look like warm honey, it'll look very smooth. If your coffee brews very quickly, so if you get your shot very quickly in 10 seconds only, that means your grind size is too large and you need to slow it down by grinding finer. Okay, and on the other hand, if your coffee brews very slowly, that means your grind size is too fine and you need to grind larger. On your grinder, think of your grind size like it's the brew speed setting. So if you have a large grind size, your speed will be large. If you have a small grind size, your speed will be small. But if you have the right grind size, then everything will be nice and smooth. This is exactly 17 grams according to my scale. I'm gonna clean the edges. And I forgot to say that my grinder tamps as well, so it presses the coffee for you. But not every grinder does that, or actually most of them don't. So you need to press your own coffee. And so when you grind the 17 grams into the basket, it'll be like a little mountain of coffee. And you need to press it down with a tamper. So to do that, you collect that ground coffee, you spread it around as much as you can, and then you press it down with a tamper. If you have the correct amount of coffee, what you'll notice, well, if you have a scale, just use the scale to measure 17 grams. But if you don't have a scale, look at the tamper, right? So once I've pressed down the coffee nice and firmly into the basket, the double basket, the silver part disappears. So the silver part on the tamper will disappear when I have the correct grind amount. If I have too much coffee, the silver part will still show. So the tamper will be this high. Even if I press it harder, it won't go any deeper. So it'll be this high. And conversely, if I have too little coffee, the silver part will sink very deeply, and you'll see that. But yeah, this is what it looks like, nice and smooth. Try to tamp it firmly, evenly, make sure it's flat, and give it a twist at the end to polish, and this is what it should look like. Perfect, hope that makes sense. You can do the same trick for the single basket as well. So all the baskets can use the same trick where make sure that the amount of coffee is as deep as this silver part, just like that. Clean the edges and then lock it into the middle. Now, we're about to brew coffee. Also wanted to say that you have a hot water tap here. That gives you clean hot water straight from the boiler. You can use it for a few things. You can use it to convert your espresso into a long black. You can use it to brew tea bags. You can use it to warm up your cups. I also use it for those, as well as I like to add a little bit of hot water at the bottom of my cups, because sometimes I add sugar, and the sugar will dissolve better if there's a little bit of hot water before the espresso. So I'm going to give a scoop of sugar. Mix it up, and then I'm going to brew the coffee. That will help the flavors spread around more evenly. Alright, so I'm going to reset my scale, and now I'm going to measure again. Why am I measuring the inputs and outputs? To be consistent, of course. So if you keep your grind amount at exactly 17 grams and try to keep your output at exactly double that, so about 35 grams, then you have better control over your shot. So, what is espresso? Espresso is a small shot of coffee. That's about 2-to-1 ratio. So for every gram we ground 17, we want 2 grams out. So for every gram we grind, we want 2 grams out into the cup. So I'll be aiming for about 35 seconds, and that process should take 25 to 35 seconds. We'll say 30 just to be in the middle. So 30 seconds for a shot. If it's faster than that, if my 35 grams comes out in less than 30 seconds, so if it's like 20 or 15, then that's too quick. I need to grind a little bit finer to slow it down to become 30 seconds. And if my shot takes too long, if it takes an entire minute or 45 seconds, that's too slow. And I need to increase the grind size to a bit larger of a number to speed up the coffee. Hope that's not too difficult to understand. I mean, if you have any questions, please feel free to message me. But anyway, that's what I'm aiming to do. I'm also gonna program the button for you. These 2 buttons are programmable. You can change them to whatever length you'd like, from 20 mils all the way to 200 mils. Like I said, I'm gonna be aiming for a 35 mil shot, so I'll be programming the double button because I'm using the double basket. I'm gonna be programming the double button to give me about 35 grams of coffee. Scale is ready to go. I'm also going to time it on my scale. To program a button, it's super easy. You press program, the button, then you stop it. So I'm going to press program, the button I want to program, and then it'll make coffee. And then I stop it when I'm happy with the amount, and it'll save that amount for next time. You can look at the pressure gauge, it's a good indicator if you're doing the right things. Looks good, giving us strong pressure about 1 o'clock on the gauge. I'm going to stop it at about 25 seconds. That looks good, that looks between 30 and 40 grams. Yeah, that's about 40, 42. Not too bad. It's higher than what I wanted. I wanted between 35 and 40, but pretty close. And it will taste good, I think. The factory setting, so if I were to reset it to factory program, the standard will give you about 60 to 80 mils of coffee. So 60 is very long for an espresso, 60 mils. So now at 40, it's much better. And you can always program it again at your own pace, for your own preferences. But I think this will give you a good, pretty decent result in the future. Now, about cleaning, very easy. Do it as soon as you can, otherwise you'll forget and it'll be a big hassle next morning. So just knock it off into a bin or a basket, or like a knock box, and then flush. I like to flush over here instead of onto the sink. So by using the machine's water, the hot water will sort of sanitize and clean. But also it'll clean the shower screen up here on the inside of the machine. There we go. And you can lock it in if you want to make another coffee or if you want to store it up here. I like to store it down here to let it dry over time so it doesn't get moldy or anything. And if you want to be extra nice to your machine, grab a tissue or a towel and wipe the shower screen and the grip head. As you see, there's always a little bit of ground coffee left, even if you do the flushes before and after. A good rub will also clean it even more. There we go. I might do the cleaning cycle after this video, just because I've made a coffee. I'll do it again, doesn't hurt. Right, so this is my espresso, 42 grams. Looks pretty good, smells pretty good. We're going to mix it up to mix the sugar and also mix the crema. So that's going to make our flavors more balanced. Delicious. Now I'm going to convert this espresso into a latte by steaming some milk. This machine doesn't come with a jug, unfortunately, the milk jug, but I've got one here. This is my personal one. You can buy any milk jug that's metal. It will work fine. In a pinch, you can use like a glass or a ceramic mug to steam. Not ideal, but if that's what you have, then that's what I use. Steaming on this machine, turning on the dial here on towards yourself. If you turn it away, it'll give you hot water from this hot water tap like I mentioned. If you turn it towards you, it'll start the steam mode. It takes about 15 or 20 seconds to start steaming. It'll spurt out some water, let it drain into the tray. And then once you see the steam coming out, you can start steaming basically right away. It'll get a bit stronger over time. So that's about full pressure now. So, and the process, I'm not sure if you've done this before, but it takes a bit of skill to get your steam or to get your milk frothed correctly. I'm going to turn off the steamer. It'll give us about 5 seconds before it reverts back to espresso mode. So if I keep it on, it'll stay on. And if I turn it off, it'll give me 5 seconds and then it will cool down. We're not going to let it do that. Turn on the steamer. The milk is now spinning. I'm keeping the wand close to the edge of the jug so that it's spinning it in a vortex. But also, another thing is, the depth of your wand will control how much foam you have. So if you keep the wand deep into the milk, you'll get very little foam. So if I'm only spinning the milk with the wand or with the steam, and it's not close to the surface of the milk, then it's just going to be steaming and making it warmer without giving it any foam. If I want to give it more foam, what I do is I bring the jug down so the wand will be closer to the surface of the milk. You can even hear the difference. want to hold this position for about 10 seconds. And what I mean by that is I want to aerate the milk for 10 seconds, or keep the wand close to the surface of the milk for 10 seconds. I think that's about 10 seconds. And then after that 10 second period, you just raise the jug. Now, I'm just spinning the milk, I'm no longer aerating it. The reason is, if you aerate it for too long, you'll get very thick, dry foam. For a latte, it should be nice and smooth and not really thick. Let's see what we did. When it's too hot to the touch, so that's about right now. Too hot to the touch, turn it off. See now, after 5 seconds of turning off, it cools down. It goes back to espresso mode. Now you're ready to make another shot of coffee, or you can just turn off the machine. Highly recommended is to purge and clean the wand. So purge, turn it on for a second. That's just gonna give a bit of steam to clear out the milk from the hole, but also, after it cools down, turn on the hot water tap to wipe off the milk from the wand. So just give it a bit of hot water. The hot water will soften the milk. Give it a good wipe. If you don't clean the wand straight away, it'll be a pain next morning, because it'll be dry, it'll be like a crust of milk, which is very difficult to remove. So highly recommended that you clean it straight away. And not only is that more sanitary and looks better, but it also means that your wand probably won't get blocked if you clean it straight away. Clean it from all around. And that's about it. That's a latte on the Breville Infuser. This way. Here's my milk. I'm going to knock the jug on the counter to break any of the big air bubbles. And I'm going to swirl it up. Do this a few times until the surface is nice and smooth. There we go. That is a latte on the Breville Infuser. Let's show you what we did. If you have good latte art skills, you can certainly attain that here. I'm not a barista, so I don't really get good latte art, but yeah, that's the latte. Whoops. I think it looks good. Definitely looking forward to having it. I'm sure you'll enjoy this machine. You can do even better coffees on it. If you have any questions, please feel free to message me. Hope you enjoy, and thanks again for watching. Cheers.